Humanity is taking a forward step from the cradle stories of the former generation, and their creations are no longer of any avail to the arisen individuality and spiritual discernment of the consciousness of the generation that is fast approaching. Delusions, traditions, and superstitions are nearing the end. It is also true of the civilization which they established. The old idols are good enough for the infantile consciousness that is nearing an impasse. Their delusions have caused their undoing, as they are proved to be only cradle stories, woven by a master craft of priesthood and preceptor, to lull into false sleep the crying infants of an evolving race. Those who saw further afield did not cry, and thus were not lulled to sleep. Most of them saw that the cradle stories were not true, and many stepped boldly forth to erase the untruth, as they saw directly through to the absolute, that which has always existed, and which has always been seen and known and contacted directly by a portion of mankind. From this portion there will arise a new and more vitalizing consciousness, fully awake, and ready to erase the idols that man has set up for his fellow man to follow, and make room for the new ideals which are as old as creation's dawn. These will demand of those who teach, lead, or inspire the race consciousness that they shall do it from a plane of actual living contact, so high that there can be no mistake or contradiction, and on a plane of interpretation that is so simple that it cannot be misunderstood. The awakening tiger of higher intelligence and spirituality will refuse to sleep again, as it is already ravaged with the fragments of the past and disappointed with the torture of misplaced confidence. It will demand a stronger and more vital thought, with instruction based upon truth itself. The multitudes are now listening over the heads of past centuries with their creed-bound traditions to the old message that to the newly born is working its unfoldment into the hearts and lives of mankind. This new old message is the clarion call that is heard above the changing voices of creed-bound priesthood. It is louder than the voice of battle. It is louder and clearer than the muffled contradictions of financial, industrial, political, and religious lies. In spite of the creed-bound thoughts of a portion of humanity, their traditional and idolized ideals of God, of Christ and man, of self, of life and death, all must go. And in the absolute freedom from these preconceived ideals, there must pass and thus be erased all that was built upon them. There is looming upon the horizon of this new approach a redemption that has an entirely new meaning. This new multitude, coming out of this clearer vision and more definite perception, is redeemed through deeper revelation emanating out of all races and all people. That emanation is the one life that is in all and through all. In spite of the delusion-bound multitude, their clinging hands and cringing attitude, a greater and more noble vista of the expanding horizon of God, the Christ of man, the Christ of God, of self, and death itself, is looming, and another cycle of spirit is dawning for the whole world. Another age of the crystal race is coming up out of the maelstrom. Whenever a people or nation think of God as absolute, that people or nation is God, for God is established unto them. As they love, worship, and reverence that ideal, they do become God. In the fullness of time they have reached their heritage, that which was first and is established in spirit. Whenever an individual thinks of God, he is God. God is established unto him. Breathe life into humanity. It means the same. God. In this greater understanding of cosmic revelation, men find God the same as God was before human consciousness began to manifest, the same yesterday, today, and forever. There is slowly rising from the ashes of orthodoxy the actual temple, not made by hands, eternal in heaven, in man. A great new race of thinkers is coming to the fore, with Herculean strides. Soon the tides will surge over the earth to sweep away the debris of delusion, which has been strewn over the paths of those who are struggling along under the load of evolution. The work is already accomplished. Hundreds of millions are released with their heart, soul, body, and instinct free. They are the throbbing pulse of an unborn race that is again heir to the ages. I see them stepping across the ages, walking hand in hand with God. Great waves of wisdom flood toward them from the eternal shores of the infinite. They dare to step forth and declare themselves a part of eternal God, eternal Christ, God and man one, eternally, with eternal life. They dare to step forth and declare to heaven that much that is written by man is a lie, and in terrible blindness wrought. This new pulse consciousness, the crest of the wave that rests on the new race consciousness. This new race sees man himself the highest expression on this planet, and one with God through the medium of his life, and it sees that his whole supply flows through that life itself. This race knows that man can live consciously in a perfect universe with perfect people and in perfect accord with perfect situations and conditions, with absolute assurance that there is not an error in the great spiritual plan of the cosmos. Man sees God as cosmic spirit pervading everything. Then, with the subtleties of mind, through his thought, he does not hesitate to review the fundamentals that have placed him where he is and made him that which he is. Thus he is again one with his sources. He knows that his source, this source, is the ever-silent side of his God mind, linked consciously in thought and amalgamated with infinite mind. This new race understands, through sun and shadow, without the bitterness, the soul's true quest for love and true peace is the truth of God and man. This race does not hesitate to strip the swaddling clothes of delusion from the whole human race. The gaunt spectre which for ages has bound the feet of the weak and doubting ego man through his own ignorance will be completely erased. He finds he has erased his every limitation through his true selfhood, completely arisen. He has raised himself from man, to God. Next chapter. After a short period of rest, as the first rays of the sun came over the distant horizon, the moon eye stood up and said, "With me are those who have learned many things which the Father sees for humanity. They see with the comprehension of that which penetrates spirit. Thus the whole wide world comes under their vision. They see that which humanity feels. Thus they are able to assist humanity in fulfilling its desires. They also hear thousands of sounds, usually inaudible, like the song of the hummingbird, the sounds made by the newly hatched robin, the notes of the field cricket, some of which sing at 15,000 vibrations a second, and many other musical sounds far above the range of the human ear. They are also able to feel, control, and send out inaudible sounds that are capable of producing types of emotional feelings such as love, peace, harmony, and perfection that benefit the whole world. The vibrations of the feelings of abundance and great joy can also be amplified and sent out by them so that they surround and interpenetrate all humanity